Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Innovation Spotlight podcast. And today I would like to welcome here Aleš Míka, who is Chief Strategy Officer of DX Heroes. Hi.
Hi guys. Hi everyone.
Welcome. And DX Heroes helps companies with the growth of their digital products. Before we jump into what DX Hero does, basically, can you shortly introduce yourself and your background?
Okay, well, I'll try and make it short because it's at this point it's been a career of a couple of years. No, so basically my professional background or introduction is I spent my first 9 years of my career in a corporate setting. I worked for various corporations, mostly in the energy utility business, and I was handling M&A transactions.
Mhm.
So to a lot of people in the startup world, I guess that would be the kind of boring job. Eventually, it turned out to be boring and exhaustive for me as well after 9 years. But those were the first 9 years, the formative years. And looking back, I'm grateful because I think I learned a lot of hard skills as well as soft skills. And even though now I'm now in the startup ecosystem, I think it pays dividends. So anyway, after those 9 years, I sort of had to reshuffle um, my whole career, and I took a sabbatical. I took 6 months off. And I was basically figuring out what to do next. Right.
Mhm.
I knew one thing for certain, and that was I did not want to continue working for corporations in the corporate setting, and I was looking for something more meaningful, impactful, where I could see my impact and also, more a creative approach and innovations, which eventually led me to two startups. And so for like the past 6 years, I worked throughout the startup world. I have been a interim CEO at a hospitality startup. I worked as a investment principal for Depot Ventures, venture capital firm. I cooperated with KB Smart Solutions,
Mhm.
which is a corporate venture capital arm of Komerční banka, and other. So basically, I've been having my freestyle kind of approach throughout this period, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And last but not least, for the past year, I've been working with DX Heroes. And basically, yeah, I mean, my role is sort of a chief strategy officer, but it's a startup, so whatever needs to be done,
Yeah.
we do it.
Mhm. With your experience in corporations, do you see them still that they're not that flexible, they're not that innovative, and they need, for example, startups to do that for them? Or why these accelerators actually exist in these corporations? For example, Komerční banka.
Well, I mean, if you're asking about the trend, I think, thank God, there's a trend towards innovations and being more open to startups in general. I think it has been sort of a long road, and it still is. It still is complicated. But for example, if I'm looking, I don't know, 5, 6 years back, thank God, the situation is changing. And well, now specifically, I'm talking about the Czech Republic. Right now, you have companies such as Komerční banka, Česká spořitelna, E.ON, the energy utility company, and other are actually, they're either cooperating with startups or even further, they're investing, such as KB Smart or, for example, C-Star from Česká spořitelna. So I would say, we're getting there. It's still going to be sort of a mid to long-term journey, but, thank God we're moving in the right direction.
Mm-hmm. And what do you think will happen maybe in 5 or 10 years with these cooperation startups and corporations?
Well, I hope actually that, by that time, both corporations and startups will realize that they're basically, they have to cooperate with each other. Or let me rephrase that it is beneficial for everyone. It's a win-win scenario for anyone to cooperate. So, for example, corporations won't look at startups. Okay, these are some wild, crazy people out of a garage doing their thing. That's not for us. And they will see the value. They will see the value, meaning, certain things that cannot be done within a corporation because of the structure, hierarchy, stuff like that. So they will be able to appreciate the whole startup approach and the products, and they will be open to it, and vice versa. But I think that's sort of less significant. Startups will also stop looking at the corporations as dinosaurs, and will also see the value. And I think that is happening already. Because they know that if they get into cooperation with the corporation, they get to access the portfolio of their clients.
Mm-hmm.
It enables them scaling fast. So hopefully this back and forth cooperation will be further much more down the line.
Yeah, so it's like win-win situation basically for both of them.
Yeah, agree.
You mentioned that you took some time off during your career.
Correct.
What did you do, and why did you took some time off?
Okay, that's it was not all sunshine and sort of like rosy outlook. No, I honestly, after those 9 years in corporations, I did feel exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I have to reshuffle my approach. I need to sort of recalibrate myself. So I literally, in the beginning, did nothing. I tried to sort of like wean myself off everything and really like focus on myself, what I want to do. Unlike most people, I did not get the opportunity to like go to Bali or travel. I mean, I stayed here or traveled in Europe and the US, and I was looking really into all sorts of things, out of the box things. I pushed myself into sort of past my comfort zone, really, and try to come up with something out of the box. There were many sort of ideas or projects that I came with. I did not stick with any of those. I did not do nothing. They would have the quality. What I also did pro bono, for example, which I think. For it was an enriching experience. I was an English teacher here in the kindergarten in Prague, so that was fun. I mean, that was fun. Yes, for a guy out of a corporation, being surrounded by kids, and I mean, it was fun. It was fun and liberating, and it was a cleansing experience. And in the end, I kind of knew I wanna go startup way, but definitely, I mean. Not all sabbaticals are, just peaches and sunshine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was not that you just burned out or something like that. You just needed some time to breathe, some break, and find a new way.
Well, I would say semi burned out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, for starters, I don't know like a full burnout mean, but yeah, I mean, there were some attributes of a burnout, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Do you think you will want to do it again?
I don't know. I mean, that's you never know what comes your way, right? In your life. So at this point, I don't really think about it. But hey, I mean, if the situation arises, then yeah, I think it's a healthy process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You already mentioned that you made this transition from energy and corporation sector to startups, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain more? Why did you choose the startup world? What made you think that this is like the best place to be for you?
Well, the most appealing thing to me was that when you're talking about startups, we're talking about from like the sort of like the greenfield kind of projects from the very bottom, right? Something you have to foster. So unlike a corporation where you're basically, you don't see the whole process. You just see just part of it, and you don't really feel your significance or impact. Whereas working for startups, you sort of have to put yourself in it, and you do see the impact. It's creative. I love creative stuff. You could see the impact. I felt, I could contribute. So, like meaningful, purposeful for me. And plus the people, I have to say, the people I met in startups are by far the most, I would say, even on a personal level, the most interesting and fun people to be around with, even in terms of, profession-wise. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and speaking of startups, You just came from Collision, which is a great and big conference in Toronto, in Canada.
Big one, yeah.
Big one, which is something maybe like if someone doesn't know, like Slash in Europe or other startup conferences. How was it? And can you just say something about it? Tell us.
I mean, it was awesome, man. It was awesome right from the get go. No, but yeah. Yeah, we went to Collision with DX. When we were talking about Collision, imagine basically Web Summit in Lisbon, but a little bit scaled down. I mean, it's the same organizers. Basically, the setup is very much similar, but Collision is more focused on the North American market. You get much more of the various startups, investors, partners from North America. But at the same time, like when you're in North America, you're doing sort of global business. So there were a lot of startups and basically just people from all around the world. So it was great. It feels like a melting pot of sorts, where you see all these ideas and you see the similarities, you see the differences. And it's a huge networking opportunity.
What was your goal to achieve there with DX Zeros?
Spread our DX love. No. Well, the objective was basically to establish a network, talk to people, contacts, and look for potential clients, partners. Because as it is right now, and I guess we'll talk about it a little bit later, we have a couple of clients from the U.S., North America in general. So it's sort of like a logical step for us.
Well, you can open the topic actually now. What the DX Zeros basically offer to these clients, and what do you talk about with them?
You mean in terms of offer to these American?
Yeah.
Well, maybe I would just put this from like a general perspective, like maybe the DX thing. So when talking about DX, we're like this laser focused niche API dev studio, right? We're not like a general dev studio, but what we really try to do is we say we walk the talk in terms of APIs, integrations from A to Z. We cover it all. We dig deep. So what we do is we partner up with companies that have digital products, have their own APIs, and need to sort of distribute efficiently their products and on a scale. And basically, we have a complex array of services that we can offer to the clients to make this as seamless as possible.
And how much is it the now focus on developers? Because in the past, the DX Zeros were mainly focused on improving developer experience in companies, and now I think it's a little bit shifting a little bit different way.
Yeah. We sort of a couple months back, definitely before Toronto, we wanted to have it done before Toronto. We sort of shifted our business proposition. It doesn't mean we change our services, but the sort of like overhaul of the business approach. Well, before, the idea was to basically target technical guys, CTOs, developer engineers, and sort of like spread the message that we're making developers more efficient. We're making them happy, right? But this really did not stick with the audience that much, or there was trouble basically conveying the message, the business message to people. So what we did is we went like let's say a step above and said, okay, so what are the business problems that we will solve for you? And so we changed the structure, the communication. So instead of saying we're going to make developers happy and provide them with a satisfying developer experience, we're now talking to, let's say, the founders, the managers, if you will, and we're telling them, hey, you guys, if you have a digital product, we're going to help you with that, and we're going to help you with that in different ways. And that's when our services come in. So we try to from the very early on have like this business perspective, tell them the benefits they're going to get if they cooperate with us. What are the possible burdens or bottlenecks that they might be facing. So we put the whole thing more in a more of a business perspective.
So this is maybe what many startups experience. Like they have a pretty good product, but they don't know how to talk about it in the right way.
Yeah. Well, a lot of times, right? Because I mean, startups basically we're talking about like some cutting edge tech or software solutions. A lot of people, those be the IT guys, and they're kind of missing the bridge or the connection to more of a like a business centric perspective. Because I mean, and a lot of times you would see that just people, they do have the technology, but they don't have the product, meaning they're not able to package it in a way so they would sell it to the people that are buying actually.
Yeah. And Take Zeros actually originated here at Uplifting in Czech Republic. And why did you choose US market?
Well, I have to admit it. It was not like 100% intentional. It just sort of happened. But when it happened, we made sure we're going to stick to it and utilize it as much as possible. But well, we are the services we are offering. It doesn't really matter, who we're working with someone in Europe, in Asia, or in America. Of course, knowing and networking does help. But at this point, we were able to connect with various companies and startups in the US who, say, okay, well, guys, we're going to try it out. And we sort of fulfilled and exceeded their expectations. So, like it's a continuous cooperation. And by then, if you have some sort of track record, it's easier, right? Because you can say, hey, we were working with these 3 guys from the US. I mean, 3 startups from the US. So it kind of snowballs. And so I mean, to me, it's more of like a snowball effect.
Yeah.
And it goes from there.
And can you maybe explain more in detail why are integrations so important for startups or digital products, and why should companies focus on them?
Yeah. I mean, basically, to some people, integration is like a buzzword. To some people, they just don't know what it means. And so basically, in layman's terms, explain integrations. Basically, we're talking about connecting digital connection of various digital endpoints, usually, this the API endpoints within the system, right? So if you're dealing with a digital product, and you're in the software industry, you need to basically connect various, legacy systems or programs, apps, just about anything, right? To communicate, to share data, stuff like that. So basically integrations are, imagine like a bridge or a tunnel that, allows these connections, the data or the information to travel. So in a sense, I think we have a nice picture on our website. Or, you could actually look at it like a jigsaw puzzle, just various pieces, but only after you have the whole puzzle, you see the whole picture. I mean, without it, it's just bits and pieces. But nicely combined, then eventually, you get something.
And in the end, the output for the startup is that it increases their revenues, or it increases the number of clients that you can serve.
Yeah. Number of clients. So I mean, maybe now like diving into it a little bit. What do we try to help is, we help companies that have digital products that have their own APIs and rely on their clients or potential clients to basically onboard, right? So they have to connect to their API spots. And, if their API whole structure is fuzzy, messy, then it takes a lot of time. It creates a lot of frustration on the client side. So basically you're risking that, you're going to lose the business, or just, technically, for example, it's not going to be feasible. It's going to be slow, right? So you won't be able to onboard and, get revenue from clients. So I would say mostly, maybe not like additional revenue, even though that's true, but I think more than that, we're significantly reducing the related costs. Because if you want to integrate the API, then the client has to send his engineer to look at the specs,
Mm-hmm.
study it, and try to do it. But he's gonna, I mean, if it's fuzzy, he's gonna need some help from your engineer, right? So they're gonna interact, they're gonna communicate, and it's gonna take days, sometimes even weeks. He's gonna call your support staff, to help him out, stuff like that. So we make this endpoint crystal clear, with all the tools. Then we're cutting the time and making it seamless, right? So actually, when he's paying his engineer, he's going to pay him less because he's going to spend less time on the integration, and his engineer can do something more with more value added.
Yeah.
The same thing goes for your engineer. Your support staff's not going to be overburdened. So that, to me, that is sort of like, the key, like the savings. But yeah, you're right. I mean, eventually it allows you, if you're onboarding faster, you, depending on the details, you might get revenue faster as well, or cash flow.
Yeah. So the X Heroes would help companies basically create their developer portals or improve it. And are there any other tools or products you offer?
Yeah, well, in the beginning, I said, like, we covered the whole sort of A to Z thing, which is true. But at the moment, we have like these 4 pillar products that we sort of like mapped out, which would be dev portals, which I think are nicely sort of like in terms of tangible to understand. Then we're talking about SDKs. We're talking about proper documentation, and we're talking about API management. So I believe these 4 tools basically, let's say, I don't know, could cover 80% of the most usual hiccups or bottlenecks that startup could face.
So it's connected to somehow the most common flaws and stuff that startups don't have. Okay. Basically, you just released the ebook about it few weeks ago. It's called four steps to scale your digital product for CTOs. So it's kind of a guide for CTOs to how to handle it. So anyone who is interested, go to thexheroes.io/resources, and you can download it there. We'll attach the link here to the description of the podcast. And maybe one more question about you and you personally. You are a Czech guy, or no? You are an American dude, basically, with Czech parents.
Yeah.
And how is it for you to be kind of like, now you are working in Czech Republic for American market? It's kind of like sticks with you.
No, man, I love it, man. I love it. That's feels right at home for me.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah. So correct. Basically, born in the U.S., born in Charlotte, North Carolina, to Czech parents. So I came back as a kid. I studied in the U.S., went back and forth. So I being a dual citizen. So obviously, I think there's a chunk of me, in my blood that is American, that's coursing through my veins. And no, I mean, I love it. It's really, I truly enjoy it because I think, I could relate. I do enjoy sort of like the U.S. business culture. I can understand that. So for me, it's pleasure. It's joy, pleasure at the same time. And, I like the flow.
Can you describe us U.S. the business flow?
The U.S. business flow, the U.S. business culture. It can be very sort of straightforward and assertive at times, which I do like. But really, like in the U.S., a lot of times, it's about getting things done. So I mean, not always, but I mean, for example, plus it's a really competitive market. You really have to sort of like push yourself, and you basically have to be ready at any given moment to provide the greatest value to a customer. Otherwise, you're going to lose to competition, which can be tough. But I mean, I my perspective, I like it. It brings out the best in you, right? You really have to put yourself out there and deliver quality service. Besides that, Yeah, I guess it depends if you could like compare it to other like business cultures, but the American culture is really like let's sort of straightforward. Let's get down to business, and a lot of people just have these sort of like business goggles
Mm-hmm.
and just go for it.
Are they more open to companies? Like if you talk to, or if you open conversation with people in Collision, in Toronto, or anywhere in USA, and you compare it here with Czech Republic, where people are maybe more reserved.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, depends. I mean, I wouldn't say like in the startup world here in the Czech Republic, at least by now, it's still, it is pretty open and people, but definitely, I mean, you'd be at Collision or any other conference and people would just approach you and be like, okay, so my name's this and this, I represent this company, I have this product, would you be interested to learn some more? And it's, yeah, it could be intense. And I would say the atmosphere is more, why not? Less reserved and more proactive.
Mm-hmm. And do you recommend Czech startups going there?
Oh, hey, definitely. I mean, well, depends on the product. At the moment, there are already a lot of them that actually went overseas, incorporated in Delaware, and are doing business in the U.S. I don't know, just and name a couple. Actually, Tatum, which we worked with as DX, but actually many others, Product Board, and really many. And it depends on the product, but yes, you have to understand that when you're going to the US, you're going to address a huge market. You're going to face really tough competition. So if you are to make it somewhere, then definitely the US it pays off. Because if you make it there, you can scale fast. Because unlike let's say the EU, it's not we're talking about one jurisdiction. We're talking about one tax system. We're talking about, basically one country, right? So you really can distribute your product faster and to much larger, volume in general.
Okay. Thank you very much for everything you said and you shared with us. Do you have any thoughts for the end?
Well, Jacob, thank you so much. I mean, it's been a pleasure. Any thoughts? Hey, I would just say, guys believe in integration. Integrations believe in integrations. If you have startups, just follow them through. Just don't be afraid. If you fail, doesn't mean a thing. Try over, start again. Just keep on grinding, keep on going.
Thank you very much for being here and for everything you shared with us. And for everyone else, see you later.
See you guys. Thank you so much, Jacob.
Thank you. Bye.